Want awesome tabletop games delivered right to your door? Sign up now for Gamebox Monthly. Learn more at GameboxMonthly.com.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Elaborates. As always, I am your host, Jake Lloyd. Thanks for tuning in. It's 4th of July week. Happy 4th of July to those who stateside. Kind of tough to be a patriot these days, but remember that every single country thinks that they're the best country in the world. Let's not say it, but just be it. So there's that. Excited today to sit down with one of the names off of the short list of my favorite people. He's an actor, a producer, a writer. Sitting down today with Kenny Cooper. Hey, Kenny.
Hey!
How's it going?
It's going really well.
Yeah, you excited?
I'm super duper excited to be here.
You excited to be on a podcast on my couch of a person that you've known for 8 years?
But it's like new. This is like new. When you put a microphone in front of somebody's mouth.
It's like we're meeting for the first time?
Absolutely.
So you and I met at the same time that we met former guests of the show and regular Tony Wayne.
Tony Wayne. Yep.
Tony Wayne. We all met working on 24. The television show 24.
The final season.
The real final season.
The real final. You're right. Because they brought
now there's like two more seasons. Yeah. But they don't count.
No,
we all know they don't count. No.
No.
You're probably in that like first 10 people that I ever really like met and did anything with in LA.
Ooh. Nice.
Because I think after we met doing that show, like me, you, Tony, and then Brianna, which is another friend of ours, we dived in and started doing this web series that
DST.
With Daily Singing Telegram, which we couldn't get off the ground really.
No, but it was the early days of web series. It was it was kind of tough back then.
Well, I'm also talking about like not that we couldn't get off the ground as we couldn't get people to watch it, is we couldn't get ourselves to do it. That's
that's what I mean.
You gotta own that shit.
True, very true, very true. But still. It's a good idea.
Yeah, and it's to this day, it's a great idea. But you know why? And I remember I wrote a full-length season of it that I was really excited about. Yeah. Can't do that anymore. Do you remember why we can't do that? Do you remember any of the plot whatsoever? Do you remember any of it?
No, I don't.
We can't do it anymore because Tony's character in the show was an original member of Wham.
Wham, that's right.
And George Michael kicked him out of the group. Yep. And the entire thing was about how George Michael like re-abducted Tony Wayne.
That's right.
Tony Wayne's character, not Tony Wayne, the human being.
Yep.
Can't really do that anymore.
Can't do that.
No, he's too nice and too dead.
He is definitely both of those things.
You are a like-minded individual in the sense where you're an actor. Mm-hmm. You're a DIY guy too.
Yes, I am. Oh, I am.
I like to. Can I take credit for that?
No, not at all.
No. Come on. I feel like when I met you, you were kind of like, yeah, I want to be in your thing. And then like it kind of slowly transitioned to like, yo, I'm going to make my own things.
You know what? Actually,
I saw you doing it.
Yes.
I'm such a cocky asshole.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I saw that you were doing it, and I was like, well, shit, if Jake can do it, I totally can do it. So, yeah.
All right. You turned that around on me in a way that I wasn't anticipating. That's all right.
Yeah, but it was good. It was good. Yes, you showed me, you opened the door, and you were my go-to guy for any questions I had.
Right. And do you still work with KPR Group? Is that what you call it?
Yes, KPR Group. We are still pitching a show right now, but I don't know if anybody knows out there, but a friend of ours had a baby, and he's had a baby with his best female friend.
So Roger Payano, who's another fantastic actor who was in Devil's Due. Was that
Devil's Due?
Dude, he was so good in that movie.
It was fucking amazing.
Movie did not get very good reviews.
It did
but,
not.
Oh my God, was he fantastic in it.
He was fabulous.
He is so great at being really kind of like a seedy character.
He is very good at being like weird looking and scary on film.
And so he was your second partner, and your third partner was JP, right?
J. Patrick Wise. Yep.
And is he still out here? Still acting?
He's still out here, still acting. What did he just do? He just did something, and I can't remember it right now, but he just did. Yeah.
Did you? Because you guys started with this really great web series called Me, You, and Him.
Me, You, and Him.
Is it still available on the internet for people to see?
You can go to meyouhimseries.com, and you can watch it. We started with that, and we started doing a lot of Instagram skits. So we did like probably over 100.
See, you were really on board with that. Like, hey man, this is how it's going to be. You are that person that is like, hey, this is what everybody else is doing. We're going to do it this way because this is how it works. And I can't adopt that shit. I have so many problems adopting it. Like if it was something that I started doing and then it became successful because of that and everybody else was doing it, I would still continue doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You know, but the thing is, at that time, give me credit. At that time, when I was telling you that and we started doing them, it wasn't as big as it is now. Like everybody's doing skits now.
Yeah,
so
no,
it was like a little thing, and I was like, I was kind of foreshadowed and saw this is the way it's
honestly,
going.
it was literally like within the first year that Instagram had video.
Yeah. It was the first year.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about, because now I'm gonna see if I can break your heart. You put so much work into Me and Him, the series, into this web series. This is something that you and I can both sympathize with because we've done this sort of thing.
Yes, we have.
You put so much work into a series, so much work into a final product, right? And then you put that product out there, and people like it, but a fraction of the attention that you get for literally, farting something out on Instagram. If I could not to diminish the work that you did, but
100%.
And it what does that do to your psyche? What does that do to the way that you create? I think it's making people lazy creators.
Absolutely. You know what? And all right. So here's a couple things I can say about this. One, it's you have to. You set your goals at the beginning. What you want to accomplish, right?
Right.
So as far as views, you're always going to say, "I want this many views," because that's what you're going to be very specific.
And it's so sad that that's how we judge success. Like views. What does that even mean? It's so arbitrary.
It is. It's so stupid too. It's so stupid. Like like you would think that let me make the best product that I like,
sure,
and put it out there, but the thing is, you expect people to watch it because you like it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So when people don't watch it, you assume like, oh, it wasn't a good product in your mind, even though it's not. That's not the truth. It's not the truth.
Right.
But your success wise, you base it on views because you want. Nobody wants to do internet stuff forever.
No.
You always want to take it to another level.
Sure.
So we set our goals and we did not accomplish those at all. Not a chance. There's guys that weren't half as funny as us, but they put like naked chicks in their stuff.
Sure, of course.
And guys are going to click on it and get views, and now they're moving on. But if you notice, all these guys that are doing stuff, a lot of them aren't transitioning to other stuff.
Because they're not talented.
They're not talented. Exactly.
And not to make this like industry talk podcast, but this is something I've struggled with for ages. And when I first started hearing the term influencers, I was really bitter, but honestly, I've grown to love it. Do you want to know why? Because we've stopped calling them talent. I remember working on shoots where they would be like, oh, well, the talent gets here at 4. And then I'd be like, well, you know what? How about we don't use that word anymore? Because the person, because the girl who takes half naked photos on her Instagram and has, an
inspirational quote underneath it.
And has like, 60K, 70K people who is now getting paid to be in a video to advertise some arbitrary item on the internet. Thinks that she's
flat tummy tea does not mean that you are doing anything in life. Just because you are selling that stuff does not mean you're doing anything in life. You're not talented. And that's why when you are talented, you can see what the game is. I don't know if you're familiar. He's an internet guy too. He's a motivational speaker. His name is Gary V. He goes by Gary V. But he's just like this guy from New York, a New Yorker straight talker, and he's a millionaire. He's made all these things. He's vested all his money. So people come to him for advice.
Okay.
And one of the things I saw him tell somebody was that pretty much like nobody gives a fuck that you're a woman. Sure. Nobody gives a fuck that you're. Can I curse on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can fucking curse all you want.
No, nobody gives a fuck that you're black. Nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? So you know that things are going to be harder because of these situations. You know what the game is. So now you know the game.
Right.
So go and play it. If you want to be in it, go and play it. Because nobody gives a fuck about your feelings.
Sure.
So like what we as talented people have to do is we have to see we have the talent. So we see that these people are getting more attention that don't have talent.
Right.
So what are they doing? Because if we take our talent and combine it with that, we know the game.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? We know the game, so we can't sit back and complain and be bitter.
Sure.
Because we know the game. That's just stupid on us.
Well, we can and I do. But
right. But it doesn't help.
You shouldn't help you. Yeah, exactly.
There's
a difference between able to and should do. Yeah.
Right. Very true.
But yeah, so getting back to it, like that's you in a nutshell. And I've always envied that about you, the fact that you're like, because I mean, I'm proud of the risks that I take.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of the things that I've done, even if when I sit back and I go like, oh, that's not the best that I could do.
Yeah.
I know that I did it myself and that I got it accomplished. And like, I'm proud of that stuff.
Yeah.
With that said, there are definitely times where I'm like, man, I wish I was just better at the hustle. Because that's another thing too, is like not even just about creating your own stuff, but being a creative type in LA, like You're so good at the fake bullshit.
Absolutely, 100%.
But you're aware of it, and that's
Yes.
why I love you to death.
Yes.
Because some people are unaware of it, and you are 100% aware,
Yep.
and it's what makes you so special.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to play this game.
You're
man.
really good at like making sure that you get to the party that you're supposed to be at, and make sure that you go to the event, even if it's
Yeah.
just a quick appearance. Like, you're really good at showing up when you need to show up, and that's something that. Also, not to mention, like you're definitely an extrovert. Like you're a total people person.
I'm an introverted extrovert. Yeah.
You consider yourself
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
See, I would not consider that at all.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're so out there. Like
Because when I'm out, I'm out. When I'm
Right,
in,
see.
but think about this.
Yeah.
You could literally not see me or hear me for months.
That's true. That's true.
Because like I'm ghost. I need to recharge my battery.
That's true.
So like I go out and I'm myself, which I like that.
Right.
But a lot of times I have to be by myself too because I have to recharge.
I get it. But I feel like you're also. I mean, you're definitely a more social person than I am, probably in general.
Yeah, you could work. I've seen you work a room. Come on, I've seen it happen. Don't give me that.
Me in that fancy red dress.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen you. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not. When I'm out in public, and especially when I'm in those environments, I like. I'm definitely a fucking ham.
Yeah, you gotta
listen. We're all entertainers for a reason. Right? We're all desperate to be loved. right. There's a reason for 8 years of my life I stood up in rooms full of strangers begging them to applaud me. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason for this. And the reason is the father issues. And that's what this is all about. This podcast, accidentally for the past 2 months of the show, every guest we've talked about like daddy issues.
Oh shit.
So it's become a recurring theme.
Yeah.
So now with that segue, I have to bring up K-Brick.
K-Brick.
Kenny, you've got one of my favorite fathers.
Yep. Yes. If you guys don't know, my father, he goes by the name K-Brick. It's a name he got when he was in prison.
Wait, hang on.
Maximum security.
For those of you who don't know, you think K-Brick is K-Brick national? Are we not
man,
aware?
You seen him? You've been to Laughlin.
This is true.
He runs Laughlin. That would surprise you, right?
Okay. So by the way, Kenny is in. My feature film Pinch.
I am.
Which we're just about a week and a half away from our East Coast premiere at the Long Island International Film Expo. But you've also been in pretty much everything I've ever made. I think you literally have been in everything I've ever made. Even the short that I made before I got out to LA, I had you come and do a pickup shot.
That's right.
So you're literally in everything I've ever made. But we took our short film to the Laughlin Film Festival in its inaugural year, and we heard about the festival because your father lives in the area.
My dad lives
and he
in
was
Laughlin.
like, hey, they're going to start a festival here. So we were like, oh, sure, we'll go to Laughlin. It'll be great. We can stay with your dad.
Yeah.
It was astounding walking through that town and how every single woman is like, oh, you're Kenny's son. You're Kenny's son. Because you are a junior.
Yeah,
right?
junior. Yep. The second.
You're second. Sorry. Yeah. He runs that town.
He does. He's such a nice, lovable guy.
He is.
That's what it is, man.
He's a delightful human.
He is. He's like the honestly top 3 nicest people that I've ever met in the world.
And where did he grow up?
He grew up until the age of 11. I don't know if I ever told you this. He had a really interesting childhood.
No, I don't know anything about it.
So he was born in Virginia.
Okay.
His mother was 16. His dad which was my grandfather, was a musician.
Okay.
Came into town in the Tidewater area of Virginia, Williamsburg, down there,
right.
Jamestown. Came into town, got my grandmother pregnant.
Right.
She was 16. He was 19, and went back out of town. Didn't even know. So he didn't even know he had a son for a while. So basically, since my grandmother was 16, he was raised by his grandparents. Because they had all girls. They had 6 girls.
Holy shit.
So like his grandfather was like, oh, finally a boy. So he pretty much raised them.
His grandfather was sort of his dad in that sense.
Exactly.
Also, talk about a testament to the change in times. Not knowing you had a son, that's something that doesn't happen.
Oh yeah,
that'll never happen again.
Never. No,
I
never.
mean, in the States, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Or places that aren't the third world, maybe.
Which is good. Is good. Don't get me wrong. Which is good. Because so he wasn't trying to be. My grandfather wasn't trying to be a
deadbeat. He literally had no idea.
He had no idea. And finally, he did reconnect with my grandmother. And so my grandmother and grandfather ended up getting married and moved to California.
Oh shit! So he ended up marrying her after. How old was your dad at this point?
My dad was by the time they got married, probably about 6 or 7. Because she ended up remarrying. My grandmother married another guy in that time, and my dad had a sister, and they both died from
half sister.
Yeah, half sister. Yep. So they both his who he thought was his real father because he didn't know any other father, but this man both died. What's the disease that used to kill people back then?
Polio?
No, it wasn't dysentery either. It was like, man, it's.
I feel like we just named everything from Oregon Trail.
Yeah, no, right, exactly. But that he died. He was a Robinson. He died, and then eventually she reconnected with my grandfather. They got married, moved to California, when my dad was like 6 or 7, and he stayed back in Virginia because he was being raised by. So they ended up having 2 kids. And my brother and sister who he had never met. And my dad really didn't know his biological father.
This is madness.
Yes.
I thought my family tree was insane.
Oh no,
this is nuts, dude.
So here's the kicker. Here's the hardest thing. I always say, my dad, I don't know if I could have did this. So basically, his grandparents were his parents.
Right.
They had never had a boy. They loved him. Right. At 11, he gets a call from his mother in California, his biological mother, and says, "Hey, we have this family out here. We have a good home. We want you to come." And he has a brother and sister out there he doesn't know, and a father he doesn't know. But
then he had actual father.
Actual father, biological father. But he's been living with his parents because his mother really hasn't been a mother. He's been raised by his grandmother, And so and at 11 years old, he was like, even though it kills me to leave who are essentially my parents, I have to go
be with my family.
So he moved to another side of the country where he'd been living on a farm in Virginia. They were living in Watts at the time.
Wow.
So he moved from a farm in Virginia to Watts. Yeah. And then he was a farm boy that moved to the inner city and lived with his brother and sister he had never met, didn't know him, and his father didn't know.
What year is this roughly? This is the 60s?
60s. This is probably 60. So he was 11. He was, this had to be 60. No, this is 59, I think.
59.
Wow. 59, yeah. 59.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. So like literally he was 11, so he only lived with maybe 12 by that time. Only lived with his father for 6 years of his life. Then he went to college. He went off to Wyoming to college.
So you say you couldn't do it? Like I can completely sympathize in such a specific ways because my biological father, when I was 10 years old, came into my life the first time, and I went and stayed with him for the summer. 1 year, and then I came back again for the second year. And that second year, he was like, "Why don't you stay here? Why don't you come live with us?" And I was not having it.
Yeah,
I was like, "No, I'm gonna stay on Long Island with my mom. Like that's how my life." I had kind of a similar. Obviously, it's a little bit different from circumstantial,
but no, it's the same age range,
especially at that age. To leave, just to have change in general. Like kids don't like change like that. I mean, heck, my friggin' niece who's 13 years old still doesn't do sleepovers because she's just like, you know what I mean? Like she's like, "Oh, I don't want to be not in the same house with mom and dad."
Yeah.
Like. That's insane.
And then also, remember, he was leaving the segregated South.
Yeah.
To come to LA. You know what I mean? Like, just a completely different world than, you know what I mean? And so.
He probably, so your father must have, like, legitimately experienced the worst of the American history. You know what I mean? Like, especially in the 50s and 60s. 50s and 60s. In an urban area, even still. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because he has conversations about it, and like he's kind of iffy. But my grandmother has more conversations. She talks about it in a different way that kind of like because it was so rural, right? That like even though it was segregated, white and black people worked together. Like it was like you had to kind of survive. Yeah. So like she was like
because it was the country.
It was the country. Exactly.
Like so, I would assume he faced even more hardship in the city. That's what I'm saying. In an urban area.
Yeah, exactly. And
and he seems like the kind of guy too, where you say that like his mother, like or her grandmother, like kind of speaks differently of it. Like K-Brick seems like the kind of guy who has such a positive outlook on things. And this is just me assuming from what I know of him. Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy who, if you ask him about it, he'd probably be like, "Oh, it was fine."
Honestly, the first time I ever heard him really talk about segregation in the South was I went to Virginia Beach. It was like a popular thing to do for 4th of July years ago, right out of college or something. And I was like, "Oh man, this is like the beach you used to go to, Dad." I was there. He's like, "Oh no, we couldn't go to that beach back then." It kind of was like a matter of fact thing. Yeah, like he was like, "No, I've never been." He's never been to Virginia Beach. Like he grew up 15 minutes from that beach.
Wasn't allowed to be at it.
Wasn't allowed to be. Had never been. Like so, I was totally like and like that just
that hit. Yeah, that
the same way it just did you, and it was just a matter of fact. Like I look at my ass. Like I should not complain about anything. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. Like like
wow, like that's madness. Yeah. That's something that's lost in our generation is that our parents. It's still connected. It's not that long ago.
It's not that long ago.
That's absolutely astounding. And so then he spent from 11 to the rest of his life for the most part out in not for the rest of his life, but out in Silicon. And that's where you were born.
No. He actually moved around a lot. So he went. He lived there for like 6 years. Went to college in Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
Stayed in Wyoming for a couple of years because he went to 4 different colleges in 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Every year, every 2 semesters, he's like,
Yep. Went to another college.
Did he at least transfer credits or just start over?
No, he transferred credits. Oh, okay. Yeah, he like I just found all this out last summer. He ended up he had a track scholarship to the University of Wyoming. Got kicked out after the first year. Like got kicked out.
Ooh.
So he went to like northern Wyoming to Sheridan
Do you
College.
know why he got kicked out?
Grades.
Oh, okay.
Grades
So it's not
grades.
like some shit happened.
And he had an issue with the track coach, and he was like kind of defiant back then. You know,
Really?
Yeah.
K-Brick?
K-Brick.
Really?
Yeah, K-Brick was a little militant back there. He was a little militant. Man. Yeah. K-Brick was going through it. You know, he's trying to find himself. You know?
Right. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. It's the right age for that.
Yeah. So then he went to like college in northern, but it was a 2-year college. He went to
Okay.
So like he had to leave. Then so we came back here and went to like Mount Sac and then all this stuff. Then ended up graduating from the University of Laverne.
What did he study? What was his?
What did he study? History, maybe. History.
Was it history?
Yeah, history.
Interesting.
And or anthropology. Then he went and got
I never
a
knew that.
master's in education, and then he moved to
Right.
Virginia, back to Virginia to
Great.
be with his grandparents, and started teaching out there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is that where you met your mother?
No, he met my mother out here.
Oh, okay. Because you say you were born in California, right?
No, I was born in Seattle.
Dude, I can't keep up.
Yeah, I've moved around, man.
You have moved around.
moved
For some reason, I thought you were born in California and then immediately moved. But is it the other way around?
Other way, Seattle at the age of 5, then moved out.
Gotcha.
Here.
Okay, so I had it reversed.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah,
So you were
yeah.
born in Seattle and
moved
then
out
moved
here
out to California.
at 5, and then 8th grade moved out to Maryland.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What was it? I mean, like, so your father, he's really been all over. He's
been all
lived
over.
everywhere in this country for the most part. He's lived in the East Coast, northern East Coast. He lived in the South. He's lived in the West Coast, northern West Coast. He's been everywhere.
He's been everywhere.
Middle of the country.
Yeah.
Was there any part of him that wanted to, do you know that sort of wanted to kind of lock down when he had you? Or was he just happy to keep the moving going?
You know, I think because he moved around a lot as a kid, moving doesn't.
It was normal
Yeah,
to him.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, and he knows a place that he doesn't like. You know what I mean? So like,
I always tell that people are always like, Jake, you've lived, because I've lived in like 7 different
Yeah,
cities
you
at this
have.
point. I lived like that pretty. I mean, just even before I would turn like 25, I moved around a little while.
yeah.
And people are like, oh, but do you think you're gonna stay someplace forever? And I'm like, yeah, if I find a place I like.
Yeah.
Like, that's how
There
that
it is.
works.
There it is. You know, you don't like someplace.
Oh, I know. I don't like a lot of places.
Yeah, so yeah.
Wow.
I'm the opposite. I could pretty much make it home wherever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm happy wherever.
Yeah,
man.
you're a lot more. You're less needy than I am.
yeah.
You're
True.
way more easygoing.
True.
You're like, I can make this work, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I hate everything.
Oh God, no, can't do it.
But so moving around was kind of normal to him. So did that make it kind of normal to you, or were you pissed when you were a little kid moving?
You know, no, because I always stopped making new friends. Like, you know,
Right.
like by the time I went to college in Pennsylvania, that was my 4th state.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Shit.
and I didn't start noticing it until I got into my 30s that I realized that that's unique in that most people don't move until they're 18. Maybe
Usually
until
their second state is usually college.
Yeah, exactly.
They usually go to high school in the same town,
Mhm.
and then they go away to college. That's probably the most common
Exactly.
experience in America.
So I think that's why I can deal with change a lot, not like
Right.
adapting to places
That's why you can make this work. That's why you have that trait that we were just talking about. Interesting.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's how life has been, and then also how like you seem like I have fucking the most unique group of friends.
You do.
That like you get them all together and like people like my girlfriend always is like, how do you know these people? How do you know these people? I'm
Right.
like, I don't know, because I'm just used to like moving around a lot, and I've fucking met so many people.
I sort of share that same thing, but I don't think it comes from moving. I mean, it might come from moving around because
Yeah.
again, I did it a lot once in my 20s, not so much as a kid.
Yeah.
But I had that same thing. But I also think that's from something that I've discussed in the show before, and that is like, were you always a part of a group, or did you feel like you were one small fraction of many groups?
I feel like I was always an outsider in
Yes.
every group I was
Yep.
in.
So
even though I was in those groups, I always felt like an outsider.
Can I say, I think this is something that I've noticed is a common theme
Mhm.
with many of the people that I become close with in LA. And it's one of the reasons
Yeah.
why I think someone like you and I hit it off. Because I think you and I are of that same type
Yeah.
of person where I have friends who have the same 4 friends that they've had since they were kids or high school or college, and they've had it through their 30s and 40s.
Yep.
And here's the thing is I still love all the same people that I used to love. Like I don't stop being friends with certain people. I just don't have that core
Yeah,
group
it's like
consistently.
Exactly.
So I feel like you and I are always sort of like the outsider who will always be accepted into that group, but you're probably not the top 5. You know, you're not in their MySpace top 8.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
To use a modern reference for the kids.
That's so interesting, and it didn't hit me. Like my girlfriend. I'm not knocking my girlfriend. My girlfriend's great, but I noticed that all her friends from high school, college are all the same. They had like they're all the same type of people. You know what I mean? Like they might look different races and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like the same personality.
Right.
Like the same. And like I was like, you lash on to people that you're comfortable with in this one thing. And I'm totally opposite.
Yeah, me too.
Like, you know, I'm like, fucking like.
You want to be unique. You want to be a personality. Again, not to say that she's not unique, your girl, because she is. But, you know, like it's.
But I figure most people are like that. Most people latch on to people that they're comfortable with.
Exactly.
These people are like-minded people that like I'm with.
Positive reinforcement.
Exactly.
It's all about that positive reinforcement. It's all about having people nearby to be like, you're right. Mm-hmm. And God knows that I don't have those people. My favorite 2 words are "you're right," and I never hear them. But anyway, so I think that's one of the reasons why it clicks so well.
I like that.
You are sort of like you're the outsider who's in every group. You know?
I like that. I've never heard that before. That's really good.
So then you went to college in Pennsylvania.
Went to college in Pennsylvania for 2 years.
Where you went to Penn State?
Juniata. It's just south, 30 miles south of Penn State, in a small town called Huntingdon, Pennsylvania. Huntingdon? Yes, and it was called Juniata College. It's spelled like Juanita.
So I feel like such an asshole because my grandfather lived in Pennsylvania, and I couldn't fucking tell you where. I feel terrible. Like it's one of the things that you don't. I guess like I was too young to remember. Yeah. I remember driving through Pennsylvania from Long Island with the family. And it would take about 4 hours maybe from Long Island. So I think it was
like eastern part of the state.
Yeah, I think it was either eastern or central Pennsylvania. It wasn't too far west because it would have taken longer than that.
Yeah.
But I remember loving Pennsylvania, but my grandfather died when I was in high school. And I feel like at that point I still hadn't gone enough to like know exactly where it was. But it was for terrible because I'm always like, oh, we're in Pennsylvania. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
Like I've been to a lake there because he lived. my grandfather lived in one of these like kind of an old folks community, but it was just a bunch of trailers. But it wasn't like a trailer park. It was still like windy roads on a like lakeside. It was gorgeous. I loved where he freaking lived.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, Pennsylvania's a beautiful state.
But yeah. So here's a question: you moved freaking around so much. Like, what do you feel at home anywhere? Like, is that a place that you consider like? What do you call home?
I call home. Well, I always say back what people told me. Somebody once told me where you went to high school is where you're from.
I get that because that's when you sort of became an adult.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Like, so I always say I'm from Maryland.
Yeah.
I always say, but I mean, I moved around. When I go back to Maryland, I'm still a guy from California because that's what I was when I moved to Maryland. I was always the guy from California.
Oh,
so yeah,
right. So when you went to Maryland, you were the California kid.
Mm-hmm. And when I lived out here in California, I was the guy from Seattle. When I was a kid, like that's
and that plays into your outsider, man. That's it right there. Mm-hmm. Like that's how it all ties together. Again, you fit in everywhere, but you were never like you're never the OG.
Exactly. Nope.
You're never an OG.
Nope. It was always learning the culture of the area.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, but it's an interesting interesting skill because it helps you make friends. Because I can walk into a room and it don't know anybody,
right.
And I can see what's the culture of the room, and like play into that. You know, I can say, okay, all right, so this is how it is because I don't care. Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
like I don't.
Right.
My culture is so much because I've been around so many different people. So
yeah, you are like you're definitely a unique person in that sense. Where like when I think of Kenny and like. I've been doing this a lot lately. I had a conversation with a former guest, Verona Blue. Verona is. She's a character. She's got a giant blue dread mohawk.
Oh, nice.
Do you know what I mean? Like tons of piercing. Like she's awesome, but she just she knows who the fuck she is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I always wonder when people think like Jake Lloyd in their head. Like when you're having a conversation with somebody else in a room, and you say Jake. I always wonder what you see in your head. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
I can't think of what it is, but
right?
yeah.
So I feel like you are that way where like you're super unique.
Yeah.
And this isn't to say that Verona's not unique in who she is because she's obviously definitely one of a kind. But what I'm getting at is like your sense of style and your persona, the person who you are, and I'm not talking about clothing and appearance. I'm talking about like who you are as an individual is kind of undefinable.
Yeah.
You know, you're complex. We're complex people.
We're complex people.
That
is the best
way
to
to put
layers.
It. Yes. Like onions.
Yes, exactly. You know, you might get to peel them back someday, but you know, maybe not. So yeah. No, that's a good thing.
So your dad, late in life, we started there and we went everywhere. And we're coming back to it. So your dad late in life. So your dad worked for 3M for years, 3M, right? That's something I do know. Like he's like 3M is a company that makes like Scotch tape.
He was pushing Post-it notes and Scotch tape all my life. That's what he was pushing.
Yeah,
guys.
and he was a traveling salesman, right?
He was a traveling salesman, man. He's traveling like companies like Staples, and he would like do shows and actually like corporations that are like, you know, that. Like an office building, like a big office building. He would come. They would order their supplies from him. You know what I mean?
Almost like what do you call it? Like the what's the woman, the Evian lady, or no? What's the makeup
Mary
lady?
Kay, Mary Kay.
Yeah, almost like a Mary Kay lady.
Almost like a Mary Kay. Almost like a Mary Kay.
Mary
So
Kay
if he
for
wasn't
office.
going like, yeah, exactly. We're office supplies. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Sales. Yeah, just salesman. So like, I never had to pay for tape or post-it notes.
So back to school was super easy.
Oh, it was super duper easy. And I would always bring like post-it notes for my teachers and everything. They'd be like, oh, they loved me and stuff. I was like, yeah.
Ass kisser.
Yeah.
And you have a sister too.
I have a sister. Mercedes, yes.
And how
older
close are you
sister.
guys in age again?
She just turned 40, so she's like 2.5. She's exactly 2.5 years older than me.
Gotcha, right on.
Yeah.
So he did that his whole life. He sold friggin' post-it notes and pawn paper goods.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he just was like, you know what? I gotta be who I am. And he came out the closet as a musician.
Yep. Pretty much.
And I like this dude like runs jazz in the middle of the desert. Like if you're in the middle of the desert and you need some jazz,
he's the guy.
K-Brick is the guy.
He's the guy. Yep.
And remind me where the name K-Brick comes from.
Because he used to be in a band in high school, and like they used to. Well, he says it's because he's a lighter skinned black man. He turns red, so they just say like he turns red like a brick. But that's not it.
That's what he thinks it is.
Yeah, behind his back, everybody was calling him Prick. He was a prick because he was the band leader, and he was really like on it. Like if you're late, da da da. So they used to say he was a prick, and they started calling him Brick. And then finally found out, no, they were calling him Prick behind his back. So the nickname Brick stuck. But, he was a prick.
I love the fact that he's like, oh, no, that's why they call me that. Oh, Brick. Oh, like, it's a cute nickname.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're just like openly calling him a prick to his face.
Exactly.
And it's weird because, again, he's just such a chill dude. I can't imagine it. But guy. I love that. I love that history of him.
Yep.
He's mellowed.
Yeah, he had to find himself in Wyoming, man.
So you said, is that what it was? He found himself?
Yeah.
So that was in high school. So then he was playing music then.
He was playing music. He was playing music for a long time.
I thought that he just like kind of picked it up late in life.
Oh, no. My grandfather was a musician. Like
That's
I was
right.
saying.
You said that, right.
Yeah, my grandfather was like a legit musician. Like you said
he was traveling.
Yeah,
so who was he playing with?
He's played with the Cab Calloway's band.
Oh, shit.
He's played
really?
the Cotton Club. Like Miles Davis and him were like boys. Like,
wait, seriously?
Yes,
what was his name?
Frank Cooper. Frank Cooper.
And I gotta look this up.
He kind of gave it up too when he had kids. When he moved to California, he gave it up. But like even in California, like my dad would tell stories of Quincy Jones coming to the house, Herbie Hancock coming to the house.
Holy
like just
shit.
would just come over. Just
I
Miles
never
Davis
knew this.
Coming to their house, the same house my grandmother still owns right now, right in La Puente. They used to come over the house and like feed him. He used to have all
like whenever they were touring or whenever they were around.
Whenever they were around, like just come over. Like him and Quincy Jones were really good friends for a long time. Herbie Hancock like used to be like
Have you ever searched for photos of your grandfather? It would be your great grandfather, right?
I mean, this is my grandfather. No,
right.
No, I sure.
Is he still? Did he pass?
He passed in 08. Yeah.
Oh, so not that long ago. How old was he?
He was 80. It was just passed like 3 weeks after his 80th birthday. Yeah.
There's got to be some great images out there.
Got to be something, man.
If you just search for old images of some of these people, Cab Calloway, like you look in the back, you might see.
My grandfather used to be playing. Yeah, exactly.
What instrument did he play?
He played a saxophone.
I'm seriously
tiny
every
man.
time I see a photo of any of the people names you mentioned now, I'm gonna be like, is there a sax player in that?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
So did your dad just kind of pick it up as a kid because
he picked it up, but my grandfather never pushed it on him. Like
it was something he wanted to do. Right on. That's cool.
Yep. So like, but he had good teachers around. So my grandfather was like, all right, if you really want to do this, here's Benny Golson was my dad's mentor growing up.
Wow.
So so that's what he always talks about. So like Benny Golson, who's a great musician in his own right, was like my dad. Taught my dad how to write songs. So he was always doing that. Then when he had kids, he was kind of like, all right, I got to do this corporate world.
Your dad.
Yeah, he was like, I got to kind of make, and the same thing my grandfather did. So
did he play when you were younger? Do you remember him like playing around the house?
He only played like Christmas and stuff like that, and I was kind of like, Dad,
right.
Yeah.
I think you remember something like he would bust out like the saxophone or clarinet or something like that,
and just play a little bit. And I was like, oh, shut up, Dad.
Play a little silent night, and you'd be like, ugh.
Hated it.
I'm sick of the jazzy version of "Hark the Herald Angels" sing that. Hang it up already.
Let's get on. Let's eat some food.
Meanwhile, he was like, "This is what I want to do." Inside, he was dying.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Yep, this is who I really am."
And the funny thing is, he never even listened to music growing up. He would always listen to talk radio, stuff like that. Never listened to music. So I was like, "How really musical are you, Dad?"
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was like his thing. He couldn't listen to music because he wanted to write music.
Sure.
So yeah, he retired and picked up his music again and moved to Laughlin and just was like, forget it.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it.
What brought him to Laughlin? Just that cheapness?
The cheapness and the heat. It's actually a big retirement. That? Yeah, he loves the heat. 116, I think it is right now.
That's awful.
That's horrible.
Awful. I hate it so much.
Come on, man.
But again, he runs the town, so I could get why he stays there.
Yep.
And here's the thing too. Laughlin is a town Where, let's be perfectly honest, Kenny, when we went there, everybody was very, if you weren't his son,
we might have some issues.
we might, like that's, I mean, that's not a very, that's still a very
100%.
old school kind of place. Like,
100%.
Laughlin is the kind of town where I bet you at least a few times a day, people describe your father as one of the good ones. Right? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That's the kind of
no,
town.
no. That's K-Brick. He's one of the good ones.
Yeah, you know that shit gets said in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when we went there for the festival. They were just like this past year, to bring Pinch there, like just freaking Trump stickers out the wazoo, and just like.
It's Arizona's right on the other side. That's a Republican state.
Yeah,
so right on the side of the river,
yeah,
man.
because it is kind of on that. Oh yeah, that's right. It's on the border of the river,
yep.
right?
Yep.
So we ended up in Laughlin, and now he's out there just playing
music, man. Living his life, man.
And he seems like such a happy dude.
He is. He wants to record another album, and he said he honestly was like, I can play. He's about to turn 70. I was about to say 80. 70 in November, and he was like, I can play for about 5 more years. So he's like, I'm gonna try to do it. So
wow,
yeah,
that's great for him. You never got bit by the music bug off of him.
He never taught me. I wish he would have sat down and taught me some stuff, but I'm just not musically. I have a good ear for what sounds good, but I mean, I can't sing. I can't do anything. You're
like, listen, I could be a music critic.
Yeah, I could be an A&R. I could be be like, hey, this guy's going to be a star.
Right.
But no, I can't. No. But it's funny because I think that's one of the reasons that I saw him give up his dream of like art for me to pursue mine. You know what I mean? Like I saw like,
that's a sweet way to look at it.
I don't want a 9-to-5 job. I don't want to do that. I want to be happy in life. My dad kind of gave me that inspiration.
Do you feel like your dad regrets doing the 3M thing, or do you think
no? He's
different. He had kids.
Yeah,
you don't have kids.
And he's 100% that guy of like, I don't really need much. You see my dad's house. He doesn't need much. He's
I think that's why he's so easygoing. Is that your dad is one of the most content people.
Yeah.
And so you were an athlete in school and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the entertainment thing come from?
You know what? The bug actually bit me when I was about 4 years old or so.
Oh, really? So it was done.
Yeah. 2 things happened. One, I was a really quiet kid up until about 4, and my mom had like a church talent show, and my older god brothers were doing like this breakdancing on stage. And like they had been teaching me, so I came on stage with them. And me being 4 years old, breakdancing,
that's adorable.
The crowd went crazy.
Right.
So like I heard them. My mom tells the story of like when I came off stage, I haven't shut up since. So like, that's one of them. And then also my sister wanted a sister instead of a little brother.
Right.
So she used to dress me up in like her nightgowns and make me play like Cinderella and stuff like that.
So we have that in common, dude.
Yeah. So
my sisters are 10 and 11 years older than me. Growing up on Long Island in the 80s. Do you know how many times I was decked out to look like Bon Jovi or like Kiss with like makeup on? Like they would put makeup on me all the time as a little kid. Would tease my hair real big like an 80s hair. It's like just ridiculous.
Yeah. And like you just want to be cool and be down with them.
I just want to hang out with my brother.
Yeah,
he didn't want nothing to do with me.
See, I only had a sister. I was like, is this the only way you should play with me? Fine, give me the nightgown. Give me the nightgown.
Yeah. I want the attention.
Let's go. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, 100%. So those are the 2 where it started, and then like I kind of did theater in high school, just my senior year, but my football coach didn't like that too much. And
no,
he hated it.
And so remind me, high school is in Virginia,
Maryland,
or Maryland, the area, as I've been taught to call it.
That's what is. The DMV are the area.
The area,
yes,
right. What do you call the tri-state area in that? Do you guys use the term tri-state area at all? Yeah,
the tri-state area. That's it.
And you consider that?
No, it's still you guys. We're the DMV.
Oh, right. You consider us still a tri-state area. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Long Island, Jersey.
It's DC, Maryland, Virginia, DMV.
Right. Okay.
So that's what.
So, I mean, you're playing football. I don't like what's the demographic where you grow up? Like, what is it like when you grow up?
So when I went to a historically black high school.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. So in Maryland, because Prince George's County is the most affluent black county in the world.
Oh, so it wasn't very like culturally mixed.
No. Well, it was probably like 7. My high school was more diverse and a lot of like there was some that like literally were all black high schools.
Gotcha.
And But so like that's when I didn't want to go to all black college. That's why I went to Juniata, where I was the only black athlete there. So like so I went from an all historically black high school to a historically white college.
And that was by design?
Yeah, well, it was a really good school.
Oh, okay.
Really good school.
That wasn't a thought process.
Yeah, I didn't know at the time how not diverse. Yeah, how white it was. Right. It was snowing when I went on my visit. So I saw like 4 black girls in the cafeteria. So I was like, oh, that's great. This is black people. I was like, black people ain't gonna be on the snow anyway. So I was like, I was like, hey, this is cool. All right, whatever.
All right, that's fair.
So I went, and then realized that no, those 4 black girls were it, and they were like foreign exchange students.
Right.
So yeah.
So you're doing football, right? You play football, right?
Yep.
Right. You play football. Yeah.
And it was the only year that I was in high school we had like a drama class. So I took it. And it was like a mixed class, and like, but everybody dug it because it was cool. It was like, oh, you guys are putting on plays at our school because we didn't have that, you know.
You guys didn't have a big art.
Oh, we had band and choir, and that's it. That's it for art. Like we
Really?
had sculpture and stuff like that. But
So you had some art classes,
Yeah, we had
fine art classes,
exactly.
but
we
not
didn't
a
have
big
any.
program.
We didn't have any. So that when they had drama, it was like, wow, we're putting on plays. Wow, this has never happened because my school was a little broke school.
Right.
So like they were like, oh, we're putting on. So people like the students came out and supported it. Like we put on the Wizard of Oz and. First, and we put on Neil Simon Rumors. It was our second
who were you
play.
in Wizard of Oz?
I was the Guardian of the Gate because I couldn't get a bigger part because my football coach wouldn't let me. It was during football season.
Oh shit!
So like he didn't even want me to be in it. So I was the Guardian of the Gate. But I'll tell you, my 2 scenes were only supposed to be about a minute apiece. I definitely made them both 5 minutes.
You milked that shit.
Yes, I definitely both.
So okay, so that story leads to exactly the type of a performer that Kenny Cooper is, because I'll never forget the time when I noticed in the short film that we made in our little featurette Skull Rosary when your character picks me up off the ground, like I got wounded, and you pick my character up off the ground, and I didn't realize it in playbacks and dailies. I didn't realize it in like editing it. I didn't realize it until months after the movie was completed. You straight up are like flexing and looking at your own bicep as you lift me up off the ground.
Well, first of all,
could
people,
not be more proud of yourself.
First of all, people,
Could not be so proud.
I know this is like there's no visuals here, but have you seen my biceps? Really? Okay, so you would look too. All right, you would look too. You would look
Kenny,
too.
when we were making that project, I remember when you saw what I wanted you to wear.
Yes,
you were like, "Why am I wearing this?"
This is a little weird. Let me tell this story. Let me tell this story.
Okay, go for it.
So Jake is like, I want to do this movie.
Right.
Cool. Awesome. Let's do it. He's like, okay, so for your wardrobe, what I want you to do is like kind of have on like some tan like khaki pants and then
cargo pants,
military
style.
And then we're gonna put you in like the tightest green shirt you could wear. Like this is a guy telling you this. I'm kind of looking at Jake like
that sort of like neoprene, like athletic wear that like you find at like
yeah. So like I was like
Under Armour.
It was like Under Armour. It was a little weird or whatever, but I did it and it came out. You gotta trust Jake, man. It was good. It was good. It was good.
Why was it good? When did you realize it was gonna be good?
When we screened it for the first time at Laughlin, and like literally my first time on screen. All the chicks in the movie theater were like, "Woo!"
That's what it is.
Yeah, that was the moment.
Literally, it's this like reveal up from you,
Yep.
and it comes down, and it comes across like your pecs, and it
Yep.
comes, and the ladies went ape shit, and I
Yes,
was
they
like,
did.
"See, you got to give the ladies what they want, Kenny.
You gotta give them what they want.
You gotta give them what they want.
Nothing wrong with
It's
that.
Like they're bringing it with full circle, man. You gotta get clicks. You gotta get
Sex
clicks.
sells. Sex sells. Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
But so anyway, so you got bit by the friggin' the theater bug in high school.
Yeah,
and then what made you not? I mean, so it seems like you were pretty serious about being an athlete.
Yeah.
Was that like? Was there another thing? Was there a third thing? Was it like, oh, I also wanted to be a teacher or this?
Oh, I want to be a doctor. That's what.
Oh,
the number
doctor,
one thing.
really?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't know that.
My thing was that's what the only reason I went to that school, Juniata, because they had like a 90-something% acceptance rate, like 97 to Duke Medical School.
Wow.
So I was like, this is like it was like a super duper tough school, and it was like if I go here. After college, I'm gonna get into medical school, and like I wanted to go to Duke because eventually my goal was to be the athletic trainer of the Lakers.
Wow, that was your end game.
I want to be a
At
sports
what age
physician.
was that?
From once I started getting into sports in high school, probably my sophomore year in college.
Wow.
I mean, in high school, I wanted to be a sports physician.
That was your.
But I always wanted to be a doctor. A doctor growing up is what I wanted to be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so then, when did did you decide? Hey, you know what's better? Pretending to be a thing.
It was the perfect storm happened. Perfect storm. 3 things I can tell you right now. First thing was I got a radio show my first year in college.
Oh shit!
And like had a radio show.
Says the guy who's never listened to a podcast in his life.
I know. This is radio, okay? It's back in its purest form, okay? But anyways, it was called the Super Cuban Ice Show. I did it with my friend Matt Eisenberg, and we actually had a rap and everything. A theme song. It's pretty fucking cool.
You gotta send me that. I'll include it at the end of this episode.
Actually, I could probably do it for you at the end of this episode if you want me to. I could do it live. And then like we the people on campus loved it. It's like people on campus liked it because we were like it was a nerdier school, so like we were like cool guys on campus, and we were nerdy too, but it didn't matter. So people liked it, and then also there were two. This is fun. There were two maximum security prisons in that town, and the only radio station they could get was a campus one. So we were playing like hip hop. So like these guys were like all over from all over the country in the federal one, and the state one they were all from like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and stuff like that. So they loved our show. So they would write us all this fan mail.
The only one that would
play hip hop because everybody else would play like
from maximum security.
So I still have letters. Like we would get probably like 15 letters a week from these guys. They would spend their time and write out these long letters. And hey, and like we literally learned like prison dialect.
Oh and my God! Like vernacular, certain like terms.
Man, come on, like even different spellings. We kept saying like, "Oh, this misspelling stuff." Like, no,
that's the way.
That's the way it's spelled. Yeah, and like they would give it like drawings and stuff like that, and we would know what they're in for. And like we would shout them out. They were like, "Hey, can you give us shout out?" It was like, "Oh, give a shout out to Goldie on I Block, Little Shiz on G Block."
Talk about street cred.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna point out for my boys on the inside. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, but like
these
so like
two nerdy kids from fucking the whitest college in the world.
Absolutely, they loved us, and then everybody on campus loved us, and so like that was like my first. I was like, oh man, I kind of like this. And then my second year there, I started interning at a hospital, and like every week I went around to a different group of doctors, and they all said like, you don't want to do this. They were all miserable people, and like the only people that were like happy were nurses and physical therapists. So those are the only people that were happy. Everybody else was like, you don't want to do this. We thought it was going to be different. I got so many bills to pay. Like it was so like, you know, it was a perfect storm.
It kind of scares you off a little bit.
Yeah.
Does any part of you kind of resent that?
No. I'm happy where I am in life. I'm happy because I was pulling. I kind of knew I wanted to be an entertainer anyways. It just wasn't possible.
So that sort of kind of reinforced something that maybe you were thinking already.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Exactly. And then I was this girl I was dating at the time. She she was just a girl, you know what I mean? Like just a girl. And she like one day, like I remember, I'll never forget. It was like early in the morning. She was had this conversation with me and was like, Kenny, do you? Because I was thinking about switching my major and I was to computer science. She was like, do you know who you are? Like you're so talented. People respond to you so well. Like you don't want to be behind a desk. You don't want to be like doing something like that. You need to be out like in the world and like changing the world, like talking to people and stuff. And like literally out of nowhere, like
using what you got.
Yeah, exactly. She was like, yeah. I was like, oh wow, like because I'd never heard anybody say anything like that to me before. So
do you remember like the scenario? Like where were you guys, like at home? What was it?
We were lying in bed from a night of like partying
or like post-coital. Come on, we're friends here.
Yes, we had sex at the night before, and we were like naked in bed. And we were having that conversation. You know that conversation you.
So it was like pillow talk.
Yeah, it's pillow talk. That's good. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was pillow talk.
But like it was like real. It was like legit connection.
Yeah, she like
that's like something out of a movie.
Yeah,
you should use that shit if you haven't used it already. I'm gonna use it. I'm not gonna give you credit.
Okay,
I'm kidding. But that's really good. And she was just like, "Do you know who you are?" And you. That was it.
Out of nowhere. The conversation wasn't even like she just broke into this conversation. It wasn't even we weren't even talking about that. So yeah. And
then that was it. You were done with medicine or whatever.
I was done with medicine. I was like I thought I wanted to be on the radio. Well, I did want to be on the radio. And then my last semester in college period, after I transferred, I was transferred to the school called Salisbury. I was on a morning show. Like an actual, not even on a radio show. I was on a morning show that aired in Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware. It was called OC 104. I was on the morning show with this guy, Wookie. And I was.
I'm sorry. Wookie.
Wookie is
like a Wookie from Star Wars.
Exactly. And the reason his name was that is because
he was hairy.
He was a quadriplegic little person that had to like ride around on a little motor scooter. He became like a really good friend of mine. Really good.
Wait, why? I don't get the connection to Wookie.
Wasn't a Wookie like like Star Wars?
Yeah, the Wookie's Chewbacca.
Yeah. Well, he was like a little mini Wookie. Yeah. I don't.
So why didn't they call him Ewok?
I don't know. I have no idea. Okay. I don't know. All right. He went with that. I have no idea.
All right. Hey, shout out to Wookie.
In his mind, he was bigger than what he was.
There you go. I mean? Perfect.
So, but he had a great voice. But there's another conversation. He sat me one day. We were like in between a break on a radio show, and he was like, "Kenny, why are you trying to do radio?" I was like, "Because I love it. It's fun. You see, I'm good at it. Like, what you trying to tell me not to? You don't want me around anymore?"
That's passive aggressive.
Yeah. He was like, "No." He was like, "Look at you. You're good looking. Like women like you. Like you're good looking. Like go be on TV. Go be on TV. Like if I could be on TV, if I look like you, I would be on TV. Nobody doing radio wants to do radio. They want to do TV, but they're just not good looking enough." That's what he told me. Right. He was like, "There's more money. There's everything. Go make the money on TV." So I was like, oh shit, yeah. Then after that, I moved to Chicago with my sister in film school and started doing films with her. And I was like,
wow, shit.
and I kind of, that
went
was
from there.
Yeah, I went from there.
How long have you been in LA now?
10 years in August.
So yeah, so you were only out here for like 2 years when you met me, or a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
So
I think almost exactly 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kenny, you're absolutely one of my favorite people.
Thank you. Same to you.
I'm so stoked that I know you. And I am going to continue to exploit your abilities and talents for no money for as long as I possibly can.
Well, brother, that might not be much longer because I'm about to blow up.
Yeah, you know what? Not for nothing. Let's get a little braggadocious here. Kenny, you are a booking machine right now. You're booking so many goddamn commercials. Well, I couldn't be happier. You're technically, Kenny Cooper, how did we not even talk about this? You are an underwear model.
Oh, yes, I am. Professional.
You are officially a professional underwear model.
I absolutely am. 100%. 100%.
What was the spot that just aired?
Gildan underwear. You can check me out in it.
Drinking some coffee.
Drinking some coffee in my underwear.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
Where was the mug when you were pulling your drawers up?
Oh, I didn't have it in my hand. I put the mug down. I was pulling the drawers up because I did that in front of the window too.
Hang on a second. I'm talking about kayfabe. I'm talking about in the world, in the narrative.
Okay.
Right? It cuts from you pulling drawers up to like holding a mug, sipping by the thing. Are we supposed to believe that this is a montage of some sort?
Yeah, the time had passed.
Time had passed. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, oh, here it goes, and there's Kenny's junk.
Yep, boom, boom. I had to wear my first thong on set.
Right.
Yeah. It was an interesting experience.
And you said that you was way more uncomfortable for the people behind you than it was for you.
100%. Because for the pull up shot, I had video village was right behind me.
Right.
So like literally for 30 minutes, I was just mooning them, pulling up my pants. I saw nothing but ass for 30 minutes straight. 30 minutes straight.
Oh my gosh.
Like, hey, man. Hey.
Do you ever catch yourself in a moment like that? Like, what is my life? Like, and those are the best moments.
Yeah, you look how laugh to yourself. Like, this is funny.
This is ridiculous.
How can you be uncomfortable right now? Like, this is funny. Like, this is so funny.
Yeah, and you know what? Another thing too, to kind of put a button on you, like that. You got such a fantastic positive outlook.
Thank you.
I struggle with positive outlook sometimes. I also sometimes, maybe next time I have you on, we could talk a little bit about the positive outlook because I think it could be detrimental to some people. I think if you don't have the right headspace, some people they stay so positive they don't try.
You know what? Positivity without being realistic is that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
That shit's dangerous. And so that's why I kind of walk that fine line of like staying positive, but also trying to know the reality of my existence. I don't know if I always succeed in it.
It's all right. No, who does? Who does? You know what I mean? But it's better to be positive about things than negative because you feel better. You know what I mean?
True.
It's not going to change anything.
I mean, sometimes it's really, really makes me feel good to complain about shit though. Kenny, how do people find you on the internet?
You can find me at on all like social media at Ken Cooper Acts, ACTS. Like because I'm an actor, Kenny Cooper Acts. And you can find me there, man. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever.
And Me You Him is still live. They can find that on YouTube.
Or you can just go to our website, meyouhimseries.com.
That's a really fun little like no budget series, man. You guys did such a great job with that.
Thanks for helping us out with it too.
Sure, of course. Yeah, I helped a little bit on editing and adding some graphic elements to it to kind of spice it up a little bit.
You made it slick.
It's a really fun little like, you know what? There are no shortage of web series and TV shows and short films about like the bachelor friends and dating.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely no shortage of those, but the thing that almost all of them are missing is like a legitimate heart to them, and you guys did such a great job with that. Like I believe, and it might be because a lot of it was based off of your own real lives.
It was,
and that's you know me. I mean, that's Pinch. The feature film is you know like there's when you can't
deny it. You can't deny it when it's based on reality. You can't deny it.
Exactly, and so there's so much heart to that series. It's such a fun series.
One thing I got to say about that is that like we tried to make a show, to be honest, like you said, but we didn't want a lot of what you're saying about there being a whole bunch of shows where it's about guys dating and like, but I feel like guys try to make themselves look too cool. Like that's it. Instead of being honest, they try to make themselves look cool.
Everybody is so petrified of their image.
Exactly. So like they make a show and they put themselves and they want to make, but like we just made an honest show and we didn't come out looking the best in some situations, but that's just what it is.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
yeah. Well, as always, find me on Twitter at Liquid Jake because that's the name that I picked 12 years ago. at Liquid Jake, and please follow at It's Dragon Wagon on all social media. Keep following everything that Dragon Wagon Radio is doing. We have got a lot of great stuff happening, a lot of great stuff in the works. Please continue to leave iTunes reviews. They are so incredibly important. We are now a 5-star rated podcast. Thank you so much to everybody who helped make that happen. Please continue to leave those reviews. If you're listening overseas, how the hell did you find us? But also thanks, but also leave a review, because every single country has their own iTunes. I just learned that out. I just learned about that. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, like if you're in Europe and you listen and you go to our show, we don't have any reviews in Europe because all our reviews are in the States. Every iTunes store is different from nation to nation. I learned that.
Wow.
We're learning, we're growing, we're doing it together. That's what the show is all about. One last time I will plug this, maybe one more time next week. My feature film Pinch, completely no budget, DIY, bootstrap, feature-length film. It's as indie could get, but I couldn't be more proud of it. It's a really fun little heartfelt project. If you're in the New York tri-state area, we will be having our East Coast premiere at the Long Island International Film Expo on July 15th at the Belmore Movies at 7 o'clock. The Belmore Theater is directly underneath the Belmore train station. Super easy to get to from New York City or from the LIRR. Kenny is fantastic in it. Previous guests of the show, Tony Wayne, are fantastic in it.
It's a super duper good movie, guys. It's so good. It has so much heart, and it's like you'll leave the movie theater feeling better about yourself.
Oh, thanks, Kenny.
That's just being honest.
I appreciate that. Well, as always, you guys have a fantastic week. Be nice to each other. Love you, Kenny.
Love you too, man.
Hey, everybody. I'm sitting down real quick with my good friend Zen Zenith. Hey, Zen.
Where am I?
Where are you? You are on an episode of Elaborate in a fantastic little segment we call a commercial.
Oh, this is really nice. I like what you've done with the place.
Appreciate it. I try.
So I think I'm here to talk about my podcast.
You're here to talk about a fantastic show called The House Show Show.
Right. Yeah. So The House Show is the podcast I host. It's a live concert and event series. So the whole thing is recorded live. We have a little audience there. And what happens is I have guest singer-songwriters join me, and they play some songs in sort of an intimate setting. And I sit down and talk to them. And then we do a Q&A with the audience. And it's a lot of fun.
So it's like storytellers meets Unplugged meets a fantastic live podcast.
Right. It's like the Moth Story Hour meets Late Night with Seth, whatever his last name is.
Sure,
meets
awesome.
The Nerdist.
I love it.
Your favorite hang in your favorite living room.
And I am a massive music nerd. This totally speaks to me. There's nothing I love more than live music, and there's nothing I love more than live music in a really intimate setting. It really is a fantastic show, I must say.
You are going to love this. You can check it out online at thehouseshowshow.com, or we're also available on iTunes and Stitcher.
Fantastic, bud. I hope everybody checks it out.
Me too. That would be rad.
It's Dragon Wagon.
You're now listening to Super Coop and Ice, playing the jams that make you want to listen twice. Top 40 hits, bumping on your stereo. There's no other show like this on the radio, so sit back, relax, but don't go to bed, because we be playing them jams that make you bob your head. Mondays 10 to 12 is when we're stepping into your room, taking you to a heaven of sound. What's that buzz going around? It's Ice and Coop, Super Coop with a brand new sound. Boom! Drop bombs on it. Drop bombs on it.